On the Common Link Theory, CLT, by Alhomoudi, Mcgill University, 2006. 2. Family Isnad Theory. Schacht claimed that in many hadiths that contain a common link, the isnads that supposedly reach back to the Prophet consist of chains of transmitters from the same family, defined loosely, including blood relatives and slaves. Wherever there is such a family isnad, it will always ascend from a common link. This claim formed the basis of Schacht's family isnad theory, which he sought to prove through his analysis of the so-called golden chain, that is, the isnad Malik, Nafi' ibn Umar. In other words, Schacht claims that when a common link fabricated the matan of a hadith, he would also fabricate an isnad. Schacht thus suggests that the common link would normally use the family isnad as an expedient way to connect himself to a higher authority. This claim is built upon the faulty premise of Schacht's common link theory, and therefore can be easily refuted. In this section I will disprove the family isnad theory by first demonstrating the interconnectedness with the CLT, and then by providing an analysis and critique of Schacht's primary piece of evidence. Schacht sought to associate his theory concerning the family isnad with the phenomenon of isolated traditions, to prove that traditionists attempted to conceal the role of the common link transmitter. Schacht claims that the isnads were often put together very carelessly. Schacht tried to support this claim with 3 examples, yet he failed to present adequately all relevant information to his readers. For instance, in Schacht's first example, taken from Shafi's Risala, he failed to acknowledge 7 pages of famous commentary by Ahmed Shakir on the hadith in question. Schacht's discussion of the family isnad provides an even clearer case of this unfounded theory, when he sweepingly states, "Whenever we come to analyse them, we find these family traditions spurious." In his mind, it seems that the very fact of the presence of a family isnad in the hadith predetermines the hadith's spuriousness, not the other way round. The family isnad stands, in other words, guilty until proven innocent, an assumption that characterises Schacht's overall attitude to the hadith literature in its entirety. Schacht's approach is most obvious in his discussion of Nafi' and Malik, as Nafi' was a freedman of Ibn Umar. The isnad Nafi' ibn Umar is a family isnad, a fact which, as we have seen, is generally an indication of the spurious character of the traditions in question. Note how a general indication becomes fact in this instance. Schacht moreover dedicates chapter 5 of his Origins to proving that the family isnad is incriminated in the production of spurious hadith, which is in turn a product of the common link, basing his line of argumentation on the gratuitous assumption that Malik's narration from Nafi' is inauthentic. He states, "But as Nafi' died in 117 or thereabouts, and Malik in 179, Schacht states in the footnote that nothing authentic is known of Malik's date of birth, the association can have taken place. Even at the most generous estimate, only when Malik was little more than a boy." Yet, if Schacht's assumption that there was a disconnection between Malik and Nafi' turns out to be wrong, then the whole chapter he dedicates to this issue would have no value. In fact, Schacht's statement as to Malik's date of birth is highly questionable, for there is in the sources near unanimity on the fact that Malik was born in the year 93 after Hijrah. For one, according to many sources, Malik was reportedly born in the same year as the day the companion Anas ibn Malik died, which would mean that Malik was 24 years old when Nafi' died. Second, Malik reportedly began studying hadith around 110 AH, when Hassan al-Basri died, which would mean that he was a young man at that time. Third, Shu'bah states that Malik had his own circle of hadith students 1 year after the death of Nafi', which means that he was not a little boy as Schacht believed. Fourth, all available sources overwhelmingly claim that Malik died at 86 years of age in the year 179, which corroborates his birth in the year 93 after Hijrah. Thus Malik could have, after all, met Nafi' when he was in his early 20s. The point here is that not only does Schacht ignore this evidence and still posits a disconnection between Malik and Nafi', but he also goes as far as to say to a generalization on the basis of unexamined determinations. Stay tuned for many more parts.